let it drop.
Welcome to Good Talks with Bad Moms. Tonight is Wednesday, August 21st. I'll tell you about the date later. August 22nd is a special day for me and my guest today. I have on Jess Enos. Dang it,
Yeah,
I messed it up.
You're fine. Enos is fine.
Enos. For those of you who don't know Jess, all right, she is a wonderful human being to begin with. Secondly, she's a fighter. She's a homeschool mom. She's like everything. She's God's woman. Like she's a woman of God. Yes, God's woman. That was Mary. My bad.
It's okay.
He laughs. Jess, thank you so much for joining me today. We have a very, very important conversation, and I don't know if I could have spoken with anyone better than you because we started this journey together last year, this time, where we decided that the fight has to take a different course in order for us to have any kind of change or difference in the system. Is that a ghost opening the door? No. Okay. He's like, keep going. It's live. It's okay. It's fine. We're not supposed to be perfect. All right. Jess, please introduce yourself to the audience in your own words.
My name is Jess Enos. I'm a mom out in the Antelope Valley. And I'm fighting for children's rights and parents' rights and our God-given rights as a society to maintain those freedoms. So just like you, we're here to have discussions that some may not want to have and to bring awareness to issues that people may not be aware of. So,
bringing awareness to issues that people are not aware of, is that an easy task? Sounds easy. But
it should be easy, but it's not.
What makes it most difficult?
Well, I think we live in a society where people believe Big Brother. They believe the government or media. And so when you come out with something that goes against the mold or something that's different than what they've been conditioned to believe, you're now the odd duck or the one that wears the tinfoil hat, and it can't be true. But I think we've seen over the last, especially the last 2-3 years, we've seen where every one of us have been right about every issue. So.
Yes, I 100% agree with you. It's one of the most daunting tasks that anyone can take on, as a matter of fact. Just because of the fact that we have to battle through other people's ignorance to share the word, the news, the update, the solution, ladies and gentlemen. Mm-hmm. So we're here to talk about a solution that is the solution for education. All right? It's a solution. We have many battles that we're fighting.
Oh, for sure.
In many departments that we're up against, many demons that are exposing themselves, honestly, because if they weren't demons, they'd be fighting fair. But they're not. They're demons. They got to do things the wrong way.
Got to do things dirty.
So we're here to talk about the CEO Act, ladies and gentlemen, the Children's Educational Opportunity Act. Jess and I were introduced to this last year. Okay. And on August 22nd, when we had the march in Los Angeles, Jess and I had known each other maybe like 3 weeks at that time. You want to just briefly get into that? Why did we meet? How did we meet? And what were we planning to do? And how did it go?
Well, we had a mutual friend, and I was with the Palmdale Freedom Coalition for a while. And our mutual friend was, hey, let's get together. Let's have you guys meet. There's a meeting down in Glendale. You should go. Cool. Had no idea what I was getting myself into, but it was the greatest moment, I think, for all the parental rights and movement, us in this movement, to meet different people, different facets of our fight. So we met in what did we call it? The war room, the underground,
the boiler room, the bunker room. The underground bunker, bunker. It literally was underground because it's like it was in the basement.
Revolutions are started. It was great. But we met, and we strategized for the August 22nd, the rally in Los Angeles last year. That was the biggest thing that we think we worked on in the immediate time. But we met Kevin in this boiler room.
Yeah.
And when Kevin spoke to us, we had two people. We had Kevin
Kevin McNamee, everybody. He's
McNamee,
the
yep.
mayor of
McNamee,
Thousand
yep.
Oaks. McNamee.
I think
McNamee.
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 He's going to be like, seriously. But he was there to talk about the CEO Act, and then we had another lady talking about school choice, and you and I immediately were like, no, the CEO Act is where it's at. So since then, we've been trying to get the momentum on it because he wanted it for the 2024 ballot,
Right.
But obviously,
Why obviously?
the liberal government wanted our government didn't want it to be to be on the ballot. So I think he was blocked by a couple different things, but
They delayed the process, and it was going to give us absolutely no time to gather signatures, and we need about 1 million signatures, honestly,
to be safe, because
Yeah, to
they're
be
going to
safe.
throw out probably a good chunk. That's their game, right?
Right.
So realistically, the perfect number I think is almost 900,000, but we want 1 million just to give us that buffer.
Yes, exactly. 1 million signatures, valid
2026.
voter signatures is needed to get this initiative on the ballot. This initiative is going to get on the ballot. It's going to get on the ballot. Mark my words.
In the name of Jesus.
In the name of Jesus, amen.
It's gonna get on this ballot.
2026 is when it's going to get on the ballot, and we are going to save our children's future with this, everybody. So I suggest you pay attention, close attention, share this with everyone that you can. We're going to talk about this from our perspective as homeschool parents. We've already pulled our kids out of the system, so our kids are, I don't want to say it like this, but they're safer.
Yeah,
Okay?
I would say ish.
Safer,
Yeah.
because we still need everyone who is on the same boat as us to pull their kids out too. At the same time, we have to starve the beast by taking out what is energetically feeding them, which are our children.
And the money.
The money,
Money.
Well, every child is attached. They're attached with the price tag.
Yeah.
Okay.
In our government, yes.
So tell us about the CEO Act.
Oh, let's see if I can...
From your perspective.
Briefly.
Yeah.
So, CEO Act takes funds from Prop 98, which is already in existence. So that means no raise taxes for you and I. Woohoo. So the funds are already in existence. So basically it's giving each child's school age, kindergarten to 12th grade, $17,000 per child per year.
And it actually is going to get more every year because of the rate of...
it's going to earn interest. So, for example, if kindergarten is only, let's say, $5,000 a year, the other $12,000 sits in an ESA account and will roll over every year. And so it earns interest, and the child can then use this money for further education, whether it be a trade school, college, and they can even now transfer it to a sibling if they want to.
If the funds aren't used.
If the funds aren't used, yeah. So it stays with the child for life. So even if you don't go to college right away or you don't go to a trade school right away, it's still there. It's going to sit there for the child's life.
Just to break it down, everybody, the way that this works is if that child decides to they can go to any school that they want. The parent can choose to send that child to any school that they want. School of your choosing. On top of that, each child gets $17,000 per year. Imagine how much money the Department of Education is making off of our children and producing BS.
They can't even. You have high schoolers who can't even read.
It's
middle schoolers. Let's go even below that. Middle schoolers that can't read or do basic math.
If it was a company and they had audited the company, all of the CEOs would be fired. Every single employee would be replaced by robots. And maybe even bankrupt that entire school because it was a non-performing school.
Yeah, but we don't. I don't think most schools have met California standards in a long time.
So it's interesting that you bring up California standards because that's what they're using to push this entire DEI curriculums.
And it's actually lowering the standards. Like test scores are lowering with all this other nonsense that's being put in.
Is it by design?
Yes, 100%.
Tell us your perspective about that. Why do they want to make us dumb?
I think that was the whole purpose of the public educational system. It was created to create a compliant, easily manipulated society that would always be stuck in poverty. Think about it. Public education creates followers, not leaders. Do the wealthy send their kids to public school? They send them to private school. So, or what are the other schools I'm trying to think
Private.
of? Private.
Homeschool.
Yeah.
Hired teachers. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are then our kids, or we were thrown into the public educational system where we were trained to be compliant and we were trained to follow what authority said. Now, obviously, there you should follow a certain authority, right? I mean, you and I, we have an authority. We have our husbands and we have God. But that's not what the public education system was all about. It was not to create children with who can go out in the world and save the world. It was meant to just be factory workers. That's why they do the bell schedule. And I'm putting my tinfoil hat on, but the bell schedule, you eat when we say you eat, you have breaks when we say you have breaks. They're at school for 8 hours. It's like a work day. Mm-hmm. I mean, you and I, when we homeschool our kids, does it take 8 hours to teach our kids?
When I do it at home, because I'm hybrid.
Yeah.
So we've created a micro school with like-minded parents, and we have 40, 50 kids in our school right now, and it's under the auspice of a church. All of us are paying out of our pocket, every month to send our children to school, and we have teachers, we have a curriculum, we have supplies, we have a school, we have armed security.
That's amazing.
And it's all under God.
Yeah.
Our kids,
as it should be.
None of our kids have any trans thoughts. Nobody is saying, I'm a girl, I'm a boy. No one's confused. No one's coming up. And, okay, yeah, we're not saying everybody's like that. But the whole purpose of this, pulling my kids out, was so that they don't have to be forced into these weird social agendas. Because that's what it is. It's a social agenda.
I think the last statistic I read, and I can't remember where I read it, so don't quote me, but it was like 1 in 4 kids in middle ages 13 years of age or older now identify as LGBTQ.
It's like a 7,000% increase.
And I'm just like, that doesn't logically make sense.
Yeah.
But we are, when we want to take that out of education and just strictly put education, we're the weirdos. Like, we're the ones that are like, why would you want to just be education? I'm like, because that's what it should be. We should just be teaching our kids. Life is going to be there. They're going to be exposed to things in life, but that shouldn't be a majority of what they're consuming.
Right.
Yeah.
Some may say that they're not ready to homeschool their kids. They got a bad taste in their mouth in the 2020 lockdowns where we had to homeschool our kids pretty much.
Yeah.
Who was ready for it? Nobody was ready for it.
I don't think anybody was, but I will say that was for us anyway, that was the blessing in disguise, because we had actually wanted to pull our oldest daughter, she was the only one in school at the time, out of public school before COVID shutdowns, and we had enrolled her beforehand, and thank God we did. But when we saw what was happening, it was like these teachers who were trying to do virtual, who were trying to do they did not know what they were doing, and parents didn't know how to. I think it was just such an abruptness. Like, it was like, okay, school shut down. Good luck. Have a good life. Here's what we're doing.
And nobody knew.
Good luck. Here's a computer. Good luck.
Yeah.
But I think that awakened a lot of parents because they got to hear what the teachers were. They were in the classroom with their kids. So that opened the door. What is it? The Pandora's box?
Pandora's box.
And allowed parents to be inside the classroom to hear what these teachers were teaching. And I can't tell you, I mean, you've probably seen the stories, the accounts of parents going, excuse me, what are you teaching my kids?
Yeah.
And so even those that say, oh, I can't, that was a horrible experience, well, you were still relying on someone else to teach your kids and not yourself. And so that was something, I don't think I mean, you went to public school, correct?
I loved my public school.
Well, I went to public school too. And I think we have that agenda in our head, like homeschool, at least for me. Okay, so it's got to be like that. It's got to be structured. It's got to have, you got to start time and end time. And when you think about that as a parent, you're like, more schedules and more time and all this. But then when you realize, well, homeschool's not really like that. Homeschool's, yes, you need structure, but it's what fits it's what fits your lifestyle, your family. And these kids don't have to, you don't have to have somewhere where they sit at a desk all day like you do in public school. So you have to remove that from your head that I'm not relying on someone else to teach my kids. I'm the one doing it, and I can do it however I want.
Honestly, it's that's what it is. It's however you want, and however you want is not worse than however the state is mandating.
Yeah.
What is the state curriculum? And I said this in the school board meeting, which, by the way, we should talk about this real quick. I said this in the school board meeting. I'm like, hey, if teachers have to get protection for doing their job, then what is their job? Mm-hmm. Like, why are all of a sudden teachers being, there's no rules and laws that we can't harass teachers because of like what they're teaching? Then they're teaching incorrect things. If parents are up in arms, and they weren't up in arms before.
No.
Okay, state curriculum changed, but it's been changed for quite some time. Okay, and we were just not aware to it until the lockdowns.
Yeah.
And then they got brazen because they're like, shit, everyone's waking up all at the same time. We got to pump this out faster.
But they didn't like the outrage in parents when parents started to realize what was being taught in the classrooms. And that's why they needed all these protections. And they called us, what they call parents at school board meetings, domestic terrorists.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, wait a second. We're sending our kids to you to be educated, but we're the terrorists? And so it's totally a 180 from when I went to public school, even though I still think public school was, from its conception, completely on the wrong path. But they wanted parents, they begged parents to be involved in the students' education. And then all of a sudden at COVID, they don't want parents to be around. They don't want anything. And I'm not going to say that's the majority of teachers, because I know some pretty amazing teachers who are trying their hardest to...
Sad for them.
To change the world with these kids. And they're limited because of the laws and stuff that are in place. But you do have teachers who, with tenure, those you can't really fire teachers on tenure. I learned that when I was in college.
Unless you go against the state curriculum. Mm-hmm. Because they do let go of teachers with what was his name? Dang it, Ray Sheldon. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He was on Dr. Phil.
I think so.
He's the teacher, the biology teacher that got fired from Glendale Unified School District for saying, hey, I'm so sorry, that's not how this works. X, Y, X, X. This is
Jessica
how it
Tapia
works.
was our friend. She was
they were let
fired.
go.
Mm-hmm.
So what
because
tenure?
she wouldn't lie to parents. But I think tenure it's earned after a certain amount of time. I think you're a teacher for
he was
a decade.
This was a teacher with tenure, like many years.
But you can't even with teachers when at least when I studied it in college, you couldn't fire them even if they assaulted children. Like they would sit somewhere on collecting a paycheck. Because they were tenured, they were protected by the union. And it's like, wait a second, that doesn't sound right. Why are we letting...
With our money.
Yeah.
With the money that is supposed to be going towards kids' education, it's going to cover up shit tracks. Sorry for my language, but that is...
You're good. But it's true. So,
School boards.
Oh, school boards.
We started with school boards.
We did because there was a time for that. There was a purpose.
We went together. Mm-hmm. We traveled. They called us the traveling circus.
We were. That was an amazing time.
We had a lot of fun.
We did.
We exchanged. We traded ringleaders here and there.
Oh, we did. It was a great time.
Yeah.
We met some people on the way. Great people.
I would never trade the traveling circus for anything.
No. But it had its purpose. There was a time, like last year, I think was the time we still had the potential to have school boards when they still had local control to, hey, you need to pay attention this is your moment. If you don't pay attention and if you don't come alongside us, you're going to lose power as a board. And they did. With AB 1078, they no longer can pick their curriculum. So it's like, and they're getting their rights as a board is being chipped away. So last year we were sounding the alarm. We were saying, hey, pay attention. We're here to help. Like, if you want to still have local control, you have to listen to what we're saying and you have to oppose these things.
So in Glendale, because I'm familiar with Glendale, two people ran, Jordan Henry and Annetta Kirpekian, and they lost because the school board, the teachers union, spent $100,000 of this money that we're trying to take away from them, everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They spent this money to combat Annetta and Jordan's campaign.
They went at them hard.
Yeah,
I remember.
They did. And now they're sitting on the bench approving books like feminist fuckery, I don't know, dude, where they're giving examples again of, how to have sex.
Yep.
What they're looking to our kids. And they keep going and they keep going no matter how many times we go there, no matter how many epic 2-minute speeches we have at these events.
I think my frustration is we can't, how are people still surprised? How are parents still surprised anymore?
Yeah.
So when I get parents that reach out to me and say, do you know these books are on campus? This is what this teacher said. And I'm like, where have you been?
It's like, it's about that
it's
time.
about time.
It's about that time.
Or they know, but they're still sending their children to, what is that quote? To Caesar.
To Caesar. Tell us.
Oh my gosh. I can't even, and how does it go? It says, we can't keep sending our children to
Rome,
to Caesar for their education and be surprised when they come home as Romans.
Yes.
And so,
did you guys get that?
I can't remember the
It's perfect. Don't send your kids to these indoctrination camps and then go and yell at the board for not teaching them what you want them to teach. It's not going to happen, you guys. It's coming from so high up. These people
but they were designed to do this. So it's like we're literally getting upset with a group or an entity, right, for their very existence. And so why are we keep going after Caesar to change? Why are we keep going after the group, the entity that's never going to change because it was never created to be anything different, when we can provide the solution?
And the solution, ladies and gents, is the CEO Act, the Children's Educational Opportunity Act. We need about 1 million signatures to get this going on the ballot for November 2026. We couldn't get it on the ballot for 2024. All the demons were cheering at that fact, honestly. Like, someone actually came onto my page and said, you're just a sore loser because you couldn't win the CEO Act. Like, bitch, this isn't... This is a long game,
right?
All right.
Well, what I want to know is what people have, what's the issue? What do they have an issue with? So I saw a clip. I can't remember what teachers union convention or whatever this was. I think it was national something or another with the teachers union, and whoever was up there speaking, saying we're going to come against school choice and charters and homeschool pods, and I'm like, what's the issue? So when someone goes, I don't support, like the teachers union, who's like, we know why you don't, because then that would make you have to be accountable. But when you look at parents, you're like, why wouldn't you? I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to afford to send all 3 of my children to college if they want to go. This is a solution. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. It doesn't matter your religious beliefs. But this is money in the hands of parents to say, hey, or the kids. It's not even in the parents' hands.
For the kids.
For the kids to go on and further their education.
It goes in no one's hands, actually. It goes directly to the institution that you
And Arizona's already doing this. Arizona put this in. They actually voted it in. So...
I was just thinking about that. That's so funny.
So they voted it into legislation. So the governor, they're constantly battling with the governor right now on kind of like renewing it every year. Whereas with this being a ballot initiative, we voted in. Our government systems cannot undo it.
Yeah.
And the only way for them to really undo it is to put forth another ballot initiative. So they would have to
by the people.
By the people. They would have to get it voted out. Like I think they were trying to do that with Prop 47 or whatever it was.
Yeah, the taxes.
So this is the right way to do it. And so even Zeke Smith with Mom Army, she's helping us with it. She's made that, Mom Army is going after it too. This is something that benefits everybody. I don't know who wouldn't want it other than the teachers.
So when I spoke with Zeke, it was last year actually, when I spoke with her, and she told me about Arizona doing this. And she said, as a matter of fact, private school parents, please listen up.
Yes, please.
Private school parents were the ones who actually got this on the ballot.
Yes,
because they're paying upwards of whatever $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 a year per kid. And so when they're paying this amount, they're also paying into taxes for public education, where their kids are not even taking advantage of the service. Yep. So what this CEO Act does is it actually, and if you want to send your kids to these, demon camps, you're welcome to do so. You can check mark demon camp on the CEO Act if you really want to send them there. But what this would do, as a matter of fact, is it would encourage accountability, like you said, because then if kids are now having to choose which school to go to, then they're going to have to perform better as a school, because now I'm taking my money.
You can say no.
Exactly.
Fine, we're going to pull my child. I'm going to go send them to this school. And so the schools are going to lose money. The money is now attached to the children and the parents' choice. And so it gives us as parents control over our children's education, which is how it should be.
It still is attached right now to each kid, by the way.
It is.
That's why they want attendance. But
even if we homeschool, the school still gets, whatever district you are in still gets money for your children, even if you don't go there.
It's crazy.
So now this is a real threat. This is something that we can tangibly say, okay, school, if you're not going to perform, or if you're going to keep teaching this stuff, or if you're going to do these type of events, I'm going to pull my kid from your school. And with that kid comes the money each year. And private school and Christian school, how amazing would that be? You know how many parents work 2 jobs just to send their kids to private school?
Right.
To be able to say, okay, mom, you don't have to work anymore. You can stay home stay home. Send us still to a private Christian school if you want to, or whatever school, and not have to work.
If not have to work for that.
For that purpose.
We don't have to not take advantage of this. We can take advantage of it by putting this on the ballot. It exists. It's there for us to use. Why is it not going to be? Why don't you guys want to do this? That's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
If you're scared about pulling your kids out, it's scarier to send them to public schools where the principals are getting lap dances in assemblies. Or remember the foot licking that they were doing? There was a challenge in one of the assemblies. Yeah, Oklahoma. They were licking feet.
Nasty.
That's disgusting.
Well, and I got an email I showed you earlier today from a principal in a school. I'll read it to you guys, not the whole thing. But the principal at Ocotillo Elementary School up in Palmdale sent this email to one of the parents basically saying that, so it's for Palmdale School District, and said teachers are governed by the policies set forth by the Palmdale School District Board and the curriculum that the district deems, which the district can't really choose anymore, appropriate and has adopted. If it is required to be taught, yes, the teacher will be teaching what is required. Ocotillo, like all the other schools in the Palmdale School District, are public schools, and the curriculum that is adopted by the school district is what all teachers will be teaching. She goes to say church and state are separate when it comes to public education. Therefore, as much as we respect your family values, we adhere to the agenda of the Palmdale School District and what the Palmdale School District Board approves. I have asked the teacher not to respond, and I am addressing it from an administrative platform.
Oh, so now they're telling teachers when they can or cannot respond to parents.
Correct. So now you have principals that are trying to bully parents to say that church and state is separate from public education. The last I checked, the Constitution doesn't stop at the doors of a public school.
Exactly.
So that's
all under God. Hello.
But that's where the big issue is parents need to stop letting the schools be this controlled of their children's education and pull them out of school. We have to make hard decisions. You and I made hard decisions when it came to our kids' education. And I know not everybody is going to be able, at first going to be able to do this or feel that they can. I know financially the government's designed it to where 2 parents have to be out of the house, right? So kids are at school for 8, 9, 10 hours a day. But it is possible. My husband and I we had to make hard choices. We had to move. We had to change, downgrade our income. But at the end of the day, we were like, we're either going to not go shopping, not get a Starbucks all the time. Whatever you got to do. But we chose to do that because we wanted to be the ones to raise our children. That's biblical. Mm-hmm. The mothers are supposed to be the educators, the family, the home, the fathers. We're supposed to be the ones educating our children. So we just made those hard decisions. We're either going to be broke and send our kids to school, right? Because if we're working 2 full-time jobs, we got to pay for school and or daycare, right?
Right.
Or we're going to be broke and have one parent be at home. And so we decided to go with the other. So,
I mean, what's more broke, having a child lost to the system, or not having Louboutins?
Well, it depends.
No, having a child lost to the system is way more broke than what. I mean, if you're dropping your kid off to these demon camps in the Mercedes-Benz, you're broke.
But you have, and it's hard because not everybody has the same mentality we do, right? Or who are
that's too bad.
Under God's authority. But at the end of the day, it breaks my heart when I see stay-at-home moms drop their kids off at school who celebrate when they can send their kids back to school instead of embracing when they can be part of their children's lives in such an intricate way.
They don't know. That's why they don't know.
They don't know because they were conditioned to think the way that they were. And I was one of those people for a long time.
Same here.
I was like, hallelujah, my kids get to go to school. I get to have me time. But then when you really...
Well, no, not me.
I
would go to school with my kids.
You would. See, I was the opposite. And then when God convicts you and says, what are you doing? How are you rejoicing at this? And then when your first grader does a 180 from personality-wise in first grade, you're like, wait a second, I did something wrong. I didn't pay attention. So now now all my kids are homeschooled because I will I told my husband, I was like, I'll live under a bridge before we send our kids to a public school.
And it sucks because I loved all my public school teachers, but they don't make them teachers the same anymore, honestly.
No, they don't.
What is it that you said? They just apply like as if they're applying to like a McDonald's?
From what I read, Newsom waived the teachers don't have to, when they get the job, they don't have to be credentialed. They have to eventually get their credentials, like kind of like an I promise I will get my credentials.
Yeah.
But they're in such desperate need for teachers that they're just kind of hiring whoever will take the position. And you have teachers leaving the state because they don't want to. It's
follow
nuts.
through with the
indoctrination or the lying, and it just blows my mind. And they act stupid. They say, "Well, we don't know why we're losing teachers. It's the pay. It doesn't really have anything to do with the pay, but the pay is controlled by the unions anyway, and the school districts. The pay.
Let's talk about the pay a little bit. All right, this is for all you teachers out there slaving away for the
districts,
for the system. All right, this is for you. You're able to actually earn more money, have more respect and honor in the community if you were to get the CEO Act on the ballot, get it passed, and get hired or open up your own micro schools with
church pods.
Church pods. There's so many ways to do this, teachers. You don't need to rely on the teachers union. You don't need to rely on their skinny little offers that they give you.
They can make $150,000 a year.
Yes, you can, as a first grade teacher.
Why wouldn't you want to do that?
Well, 150,000. Yeah, I don't know.
Because
150,000. Well, if you have a class of 10, it might be a little bit. I don't know.
That's what it was. But there's a video on the website if you guys want to check it out, educationopportunity.org, and so it gives that as an example. So it could be more. Yeah. Absolutely, it could be more than that.
But I was thinking it might be like 100 to 150, but then. It doesn't matter if you're making like 40, 50 grand right now. 60 grand at a school, at a public school right now, and you're complaining about your life and pay. You're not gonna serve our kids. You're not gonna serve our kids. You're gonna worry about I'm not getting paid enough. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if that's the case and you're not serving the children because you're not getting paid enough, all the more reason why you, teacher, should leave the union, get this on the ballot, because the union is just the mafia out to get you anyway.
Oh, for sure.
They don't care about you. You're just another number. Like our kids are just another number.
Yep.
I don't know. So what do you know about the pay?
That's as much as I know. I mean, you can, as a church, if you want to open up a church school, you can. The church would be the entity, the governing entity of the fund. So it would the church would apply depending on what school age, how many kids in a class, decide for themselves how much they want to charge per student per year. And then the church, it goes to the church. It goes to the school. So the church would be the school.
Yeah.
And so obviously there's a lot of, details that go with that. But essentially that's how it works, is that the schools would then be able to, the church schools would be able to function. You could use the money for paying staff, so teachers, getting curriculum. And under the CEO Act, they're not bound, the curriculum's not bound by state mandate.
Exactly.
So Kevin has mentioned multiple times it's basically rewriting the state constitution to alleviate the government, the state education from dictating curriculum to church schools and private schools.
They will not want this on the ballot because it takes all power and control away from the Department of Ed.
Yep.
Which then we starve that department.
Yep.
Okay. Why do I care about starving it? Because it's the beast.
It is.
It's the beast that's not letting anything change.
Money, unfortunately, in this time, money is power. So when you have control over money, you have power. And so as parents, I think we should be excited about the power returning to us as being the overseers of our children.
Yeah, we don't want the money. We want to pay our teachers handsomely. We want to pay our schools handsomely. We want our kids to be surrounded with like other kids who are healthy in mind and spirit and soul. And Tibber Nugs, I'm reading, it says, isn't indoctrination religion sort of indoctrination? Or yeah. Indoctrination isn't necessarily a bad thing. It depends on what you're indoctrinating. So when we say indoctrination camps, it's literally the schools their intention is to indoctrinate in one specific way. Doesn't leave any room for any kind of open learning, I suppose.
Well, everybody, as Americans, we have the right to raise our children how we see fit and to believe whatever religion we see fit. So schools don't allow for that diversity in that.
Right.
It's this
Isn't it
weird.
weird?
It's not weird.
Isn't that weird? DEI?
DEI is so weird.
Doesn't account for anything.
No, but as parents, as a Christian, I have the right to raise my children in the Christian faith. Now, whether when they're adults, they carry on that belief, that's between them and God. And that's not, at some point you have to let your kids go. But as we have rights as parents to teach our kids the way that we feel is important.
Yeah. And just to call them out on their bullshit, what diversity? If you're not allowing parents such as us to be in that school and voice our opinions, and you're telling teachers not to reply back to parents who are concerned about their religious beliefs being stomped upon because you have an agenda you want to run. Like, there's no diversity there. I only see one way. There's no inclusivity. It's completely exclusive.
Yeah, for sure.
And what's the other letter? DEI.
There's DEI, so diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Equity. Oh, yeah. Equity.
And I'm like,
what's equity, bro? When you're leaving everything out.
Biggest eye roll. Yeah.
When you're adding to a certain, so like if you're adding to the platform of others but taking away from others, that's not equity.
No. It's not inclusivity.
It's so crazy how the devil works because it wants to confuse. The father of lies wants to confuse us. Mm-hmm. So they 100%. Add words like diversity, equity, and inclusion and do the complete opposite. And you're like, wait a minute, what's happening here? Mm-hmm. I'm so confused.
But common sense is gone and people have been conditioned to believe what Big Brother says. So if the schools say this is what we're learning because it's important, we live in a society that says, okay, that makes sense.
Jess, do you think that, because Noah couldn't get everyone on the ark?
He wasn't meant to.
Right. So do we just leave these NPCs behind and just speak to all the people who hear us until the 2026?
We speak to whoever will listen. You're always going to have those who are set in their ways, those that don't want to hear anything outside of their own convictions. And I think that's what we did last year with the school boards. We were trying to awaken as many people as possible. But now it's like, okay, we've awakened who we're going to awaken. Because you either know or you don't know, or you're just choosing not to know. And at this point now we're speaking to all those who are fed up and who are ready to just take back control. So people are going to listen. And at some point, you're still going to get those few that weren't listening. And then all of a sudden, oh, well, maybe they're right. So I think we still have to keep going. We still have to be speaking truth. Truth always wins.
I'm keeping a body count. I'll tell you what for. I'm keeping a body count about how many kids I'm saving by releasing this information, by doing presentations.
One. Yeah. Even if it's one kid, a mom's like, hey, you know what? I can do that.
Yeah.
And we're not saying it's easy because it's hard.
It's the hardest thing.
Is hard, but teaching your kids is hard too. I mean, choose your hard.
Yeah, choose your hard.
So do you want to undo what the public education system is doing or not doing, right? Because kids can't count back change at a grocery store. Or do we want to
look at an analog or a clock? What are those regular clocks? They have digital clocks.
Digital
is
clocks,
it analog
yeah.
clock? Yeah. They can't read time. Yeah.
Out of the Or do we want to create productive members of society where our children are going to be the next leaders of our free world, of America? We want that. We want our children to do that.
We want our children also to honor us when we get older because they'll see what we've done for them, what sacrifices we've made.
Gotta leave them an inheritance.
Right. And I want to be honored by my children. When I'm older, I want them to turn around and be like, hey, Mom, thanks for doing this. I know it was difficult. And we have a great life now to show for it. Versus, sending your kid to, 500 students are left in Crenshaw High School right now. Like, what I was trying to say was you're going to leave your kids to go to places like that where even, in Crenshaw, they're pulling them out. They don't want their kids to go there. They don't have a football team for this year. And that's because people are waking up who are even less active than we are, to be honest with you.
But it is activism. It is when you pull your kid out of school, you don't have to be doing what we're doing. You don't have to be yelling at a school board or protesting in the streets of LA. But you can still, by just the act of taking your kids out of public education and being the overseer of your child's education, that's activism. That's
You're the CEO of your child's education.
Child's education.
Right?
It's beautiful. That's how it should be. And so if
that's how it was. I think, what is it? Public education is a new phenomenon, really. It's like last 70 years or something.
When you think about the one-room schoolhouse, you had all grades in one room, and you had the older kids teaching the younger kids, and you had, they read the Bible, they taught morality through the 10 Commandments. And we're not saying that everybody, I mean, we believe that God is the all-powerful being and Christ is the only way. But not everybody, unfortunately, believes that.
Well, I mean, look, we're talking to only people who believe that.
Okay.
If someone says, I believe in Jesus, I believe in God, then you need to pull your kids out of school, dog. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, yes, you said, I mean, it's true.
That's the next step.
It's the only step, because
after realizing, the next step is to pull.
It has to be. It has to be. Mass exodus of the public school system is what's going to turn it on. They're either going to cave on themselves, or they're going to bend the knee to us, right?
Exactly.
And the teachers union has gotten way out of hand and way out of control with their manipulation, their money, and their the way that they control things in society. I mean, teachers unions and everything.
If they were Italian, they'd call them the mob.
They would. I'll do it. They're a mob.
They are the mob.
I'll do it.
They're the biggest mafia, and whatever they're gonna put a hit out on us. We died in the name of God.
Been there, done that.
I'm not even tripping. Like we need to really gather our resources.
We need to be
people.
bold and speak up for our kids. You and I have always said this, is that I would feel completely fulfilled if I can look back and say I did everything for my kids. I fought tooth and nail for them to be productive members of society, to raise them the way that I felt God was leading us to. I couldn't be okay with myself if the end of my life came and I said, man, I wish I could have just done better for them, or done, we're not perfect, but to say you stood up for your kids and you protected them for like how you're supposed to as a parent, that's something. I mean, and that's what we're doing.
God doesn't like lukewarm.
Nope. What does he do?
I'm going to keep saying that over and over.
I know. I heard you last week. Last night.
Last week.
Last week.
Yeah, because it's true. It's the truest thing that can be said about this situation. Because, again, if you're not ready to pull your kids out, we understand, everybody. That's why we're trying to get this initiative on the ballot, so that way you won't give me an excuse and lip about not having money or income to take your kids out. This'll solve all of that for everyone.
It will, and it will. I know we have parents who, they've, separated parents who have custody. So they both have to agree on education. So even if you have to send your kid to public school, this still gives you a solution to making sure that your child's being taught in the manner in which that you want them to be taught in. And to me, once we get this, then the door's open. We've opened the door to continue putting things forth and making changes that are good for our kids in both public education and elsewhere.
And as far as public education, we can create new form of public education. Like, we're stuck on the government bill. What is it? It's a building, it's curriculum, it's people that teach it, and it's the students.
Yeah.
Like, it's very easy business model, y'all. Am I on 3 or 4? I don't know. 4. It's a very easy business. Is it 3 or 4? I'm already cockeyed from my Bell's palsy.
You're fine.
I don't know. But we have to do these things. We have to talk about this. We have to get this on the ballot. Share this with everyone. There's a phone number that we can actually share with people.
Yes.
I'll post it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
It's on the website too. So educationopportunity.org. So if you call that number, you literally call it, hang up, and you get a text message. And now you're in our database where we have...
call on.
Yeah. So when we're ready to sign, when it's ready to go, our goal is to have 1 million people call that number. So when it's time to sign, you get a text that say, "Hey, it's time to go. Time for your signature." And then we've collected our signatures. The Protect Our Kids seat, California, I mean, without having any money, a lot of notice, we collected 400,000 signatures.
Amazing.
So that in of itself is amazing. That was what, a month and a half?
Yeah.
So imagine what we can do. This is 2024. This is until 2026. So this is definitely possible.
We need ambassadors, you guys. Jess and I can't do this by ourselves.
No.
Thank God for Red Angeles Network.
Yes.
Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. No, this is perfect because they're helping spread the message in a better way. You know,
Yeah.
it's more nicely packaged. We can talk about this together, but you guys have to make it go viral.
Yeah.
We can't do this by ourselves.
They have an Instagram page or social media. Kevin's trying to really build their social media presence. So I believe their Instagram is
CEO Act CA.
CA.
Yeah,
Yep, on
CEO
Instagram.
Act CA on Instagram.
And
They'll have
Facebook, I
all the
believe.
information that you need.
Donations. We need donations. We need all of that to get this out there.
And honestly, look, I'll go as far as to say this. What donations? If every single person
Correct.
just found it in their heart to actually make this happen, there would be no need to print out flyers. There would be no need to go rally or whatever. We would all understand that this is the way to do it.
It's important.
And get it done. What's the problem, you guys? I don't
But it
understand.
helps all facets of life, like low income, high income. I mean, it doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum.
This is pure equity.
Yeah.
This is pure equity because it does not matter what your socioeconomic status is.
Nope.
It doesn't matter what your gender is. It doesn't matter who your parents are.
Whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
And you can opt in and opt out. So, which I don't know why you would want to opt out, but you can choose whether to participate or not. But it just gives everybody the choice.
Yes, to go anywhere and do anything and learn how they need to.
And, you know, people are going to have to, the school districts and teachers are going to have to learn to bend the knee to the parents this time around.
And honestly, I don't want anyone to necessarily bend the knee.
Know what I mean.
Yes, but I want people. You only bend the knee when you're coerced. But if you're
Teachers'
working,
union will be.
fuck the teachers union. God will forgive me for everything. All right, but fuck the teachers union.
So she says it again.
Forget. Yeah, you know what? Whatever. I'm 1 foot under the water. Might as well just drown fully. Look, everyone, I'm sorry, all right, for cussing, and especially in front of a woman of God.
Stop.
I'm not making fun, but you know, it's just when we're together, it makes it more challenging to cuss.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad I give that up.
Yeah. But I'm angry. And
you should be.
And I should be angry.
Righteous
and we should all
anger.
be angry and do something about it.
Yeah. We have to do something about it. Because we can't get complaining. I think that's what gets you and I so frustrated is parents complain, but they still send their kids to school. I get parents that tell me their kids are being physically assaulted at school, sexually assaulted at school, but I have no choice. I have to send them to school. And then I get mad at the parent because you're the protector. So why are we still sending our kids to school and why are we still complaining about it?
January 2020, I was still an atheist until I wasn't in January 2020. And then in March 2020, 2022.
Yeah.
And then in March 2022, I pulled my kids out. All right. What I'm trying to say with that is if once you know what you're supposed to do on behalf of God, there's no denying it. There's no turning back. And if you go backwards, then that means that you're failing everyone, including you, your children, their children, God. And that was from somebody who was an atheist for so long. And after 2 months, I was, like 2 months into God, I was like, no, this is
You're
not.
like, oh, revelation.
Yeah.
Once you know, you know.
Yeah.
You can't not know. You can't unknow.
You can't unknow.
No.
You intentionally unknow because you're being lazy and accountable. Sorry, not sorry, but sorry.
Well, it's true. Christians know what's expected. We all read the same. Well, we should be all reading the same book. But you know what's expected and what God says. And you just do it. You have to do it. This is what his commands are. And the Bible's very explicit. If you do this, then I will honor you. Like, I will bless you. So God even has conditions on it, like on his blessings. He even told, when the Israelites were wandering in the desert, right, with Moses, if you follow my commandments, then you will have a long life and then you will have blessings and then you will live prosperously.
It's very simple.
If then.
Yeah.
But if you break my commandments, then I will turn from you. Then you will live
Sick.
poverty.
It doesn't say you can't cuss.
Huh?
It doesn't say you can't
It does.
cuss in the commandments.
No, we'll have to have a whole discussion on that later.
Fine. I'm not trying to like go around the
No,
word.
but it's just if you know. So if you follow these commands, then this will happen.
Yeah.
And so we can't be surprised anymore. We can't go, I don't understand why things are happening in our nation, in our society. Well, you should know. If you're Christian, you should know.
If you're Christian, if you identify
If you're reading
as
the book,
Christian.
if you're reading
Not that Christian. The religion.
But if you're reading the book, you should know. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
The only time Christians get upset is when they're challenged on, they're told they have to then change their lifestyle.
They're challenged on their temperature.
On their temperature, yes. Mm-hmm. And they have to change something in their life that they're comfortable with.
Yes.
Moms who want their alone time and want to send their kids to school, unfortunately, that's not what you're called to do, I believe.
I haven't got my nails done in like 4 months, y'all.
Oh, I'm like...
She's like, well, no, listen, my baby is just like, she's new.
Oh, no, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So I'm not blaming my baby. I'm just saying, like, I have different
But you make
things.
sacrifices.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we're not condemning. It's just you have to
Right.
do some soul searching. You have to pray about it as a Christian. And you have to go, okay, God, where do you want me? What do you want me to do? These aren't this isn't the same times that we were in when we were kids. This is totally different.
Right.
We're battling a different beast on a different battleground. And so we have to strategize accordingly. And so right now, that's what we have to do, in my opinion. So
You're absolutely right. Jess drove 2 hours almost to be here to talk about this today, you guys. We've been talking about it for a year already, nonstop.
have.
And we're not going to stop talking about it until we get everybody's voice, everybody's
we
vote.
do. We have to change our strategies. School board meetings isn't where it's at, unfortunately, anymore.
We got to reroute ourselves.
We have
Yeah.
to, because the battle is changing, so you have to change with it. The strategy of the enemy is changing, so you have to change with it. The schools, I mean, they didn't care before, but they really don't care now, because now they have laws that back them up. So if your school didn't care when they had the ability, they're not going to care now.
Especially now.
Especially now.
Because they're replacing everyone in the school boards to their more...
We can't even keep school board members in their seats.
What's going on with Sonia?
I think she posted today about Chino School Board or Chino Teachers Union and LA USC Teachers Unions. They've joined forces to try to unseat her. And she's remarkable. That
amazing.
woman, she's amazing. I love her.
I love Sonia.
I love you.
Yeah. we both love you, Sonia. And I don't know, whoever doesn't love you, they have
That
long stuff going on. I was going to say bad things. But
Then and the teachers union has money. So, and look what they did in Orange with, was that Ledesma and Minor?
Yeah.
So
then they'll keep doing that.
they'll keep
It's a
doing that.
cancer.
It's money. They have the money. So we can't even, when we do the right thing and we get the right people in office as far as school boards, we can't even keep them seated, because already the opposition is rounding up money to take them out.
And you know what? Let's get out.
And that's our point, I think,
Let's
is
get the
that
Let's get out.
that's our point, is that you can't be surprised anymore.
Yeah.
So now we have to do something different. We tried this. It didn't work. We tried changing it. It didn't work. So now let's say, okay, forget you guys. We're going to go do our own thing.
Right.
And they hate that.
They
don't
hate it.
want us to do the own thing. Why do you think they're coming after charters? They're coming after homeschool. So that's
They
why we
are.
said our kids are safe-ish. They're coming after
They're always
parents who
gonna be
homeschool.
safe. They're always going to be safe. Don't get
Right.
it twisted, y'all.
We use a public charter. They're constantly coming after our public charter to lose theirs. I mean, they want to talk about test scores. Charter schools and homeschool kids, they better test like amazingly unless, if they want to keep their charter or if they don't want to
Wow.
become after. But government is doing that. If you homeschool your kids, you're already a target.
Right. Exactly.
And that's not just California. It's nationwide. So this isn't just a California issue.
Arizona's doing it. Let's check out Arizona. They're getting $7,000 a year.
And
We're
like
gonna-
7,000 or 7,500 or something like that.
We're going to be getting 17,000.
17.
Okay, per kid. Let's do this. Let's
No raise
starve the beast.
taxes. It's already in
Yeah.
existence.
And there's so much information that we haven't given because
Oh
we're,
my gosh,
we're
we
not
can
in
go
like
on for 2 more hours on
the
this thing.
technical thing. Yeah, exactly.
So go to educationopportunity.org and it'll have frequently asked questions, different scenarios, contact information if you have questions that are on there. Something that I've been doing is sharing with other moms, other homeschool moms or other parents, and saying, hey, check this out. What questions do you have? Or let me know what you think. And they come up with questions that I wouldn't even think of. And so I'm texting Kevin and he'll respond and then we have the answers. So
if any of you are in private schools and would like for Jess and I to come and present this to you, we're ending. Yeah. If you guys want us to come present this to you and your school and your parents, because this, again, private school parents were the ones who pushed forward
this for Arizona.
For
I got
Arizona,
this in for sure.
Yeah, not public school, because public school parents are not paying anything, so they're not really feeling the pain of payment. Yeah, but private school parents are, and you guys are going to be one of our biggest supporters for this act to pass. So if you know anyone in private schools want to have us on, I'll be more than happy to come on. Jess will be more than happy. She traveled 2 hours to be on this podcast because that's how important it is. We're not just sitting around, twiddling our thumbs and hoping for the best. We're doing things.
Trying to.
No, we're doing them.
We're doing them.
We're doing them. For sure. We're prime examples of how it could go for everyone.
It can.
All right. And if you're interested in opening up a micro school, you can with these funds. We have a micro school going with 40, 50 kids. I don't know the final number, but whatever. 5 kids. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be 40, 50 kids. You get 5 kids together, you and your friends. We have 6 kids between us, her and I.
Yeah.
And they're roughly within the same age range, like under 12.
Yeah.
So you have 2 parents, 6 kids, homeschool your kids. Each kid's going to get create a micro school, not homeschool. I think there's a discrepancy with
so homeschool. So if I decided to say, hey, I want to homeschool my kids away from anything, I wouldn't qualify. And that's just checks and balances. Yeah. That's because we have, unfortunately, people in our society who would take advantage of that money and go buy like Ferraris and stuff with the money.
You saw what they did with the stimulus.
Yeah. So they wouldn't put it towards their kids' education. They would just take the $17,000 and that'd be it.
Yeah. So you'd have to be in a micro
There's stipulations that go with it, but all that's on the website. And I mean, we can do another one where we get really technical with it, but
you're welcome anytime, because we're going to have to do this for the next year and a half.
Yeah, we got this. You're going to see me more often, guys.
Yes. Bad moms. Bad moms on bad moms.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you guys so much for joining. Jess, is there any final thought you want to share with everyone watching before we end the live?
No, just to parents, you're the advocates for your kids. You're who God entrusted you to raise these children. So are you doing what you feel you should be doing? And if not, how can you make a difference? What can you change?
Okay.
To do that.
Amen. Very simple. It's very straightforward. It's the CEO Act.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Enos.
Yeah, there you go.
Enos?
You're good.
Damn it.
It's good. I'll answer.
Right. Ms. Jess.
There we go.
I don't know why I have a problem saying your last name.
You're fine.
Now I know. Now you should know how Armenians feel. We get our names butchered every time. Anyway.
That's why you go by Nar.
That's why I go by Nar. Nar Smart. Bad moms. You guys, thank you so much. Please share this live. I know we didn't really get into technical stuff, but we got into our personal stories about why we think this is important, why this is the hill that we're gonna die on.
Yes, it is.
Hopefully not die, but
this is our
we're gonna live on this hill.
We are.
Okay, and die on it. All
yes.
Right. We appreciate all of you for joining. We appreciate the chats. We appreciate even the hater there, Tibber Nugs. You're always welcome. To our chats. You make the algorithm go wild. Thank you.
Awesome.
We'll see you next Wednesday, where I have my son Michael come in to join me with my friend Benno and his daughter Lala. We're going to have a really cool conversation. These kids are funny and smart, and it's going to be hilarious. So join us next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nar.
And I'll see you again, and I'll see you guys again. Or you'll see me again. Oh, and subscribe to Red Angeles on all the platforms that you use. The Red Angeles Network. No, the Red Angeles Network.
There you go.
All right, I'm done. You can do the exit now. The
Let it drop.